Hello, you sexy guys and girls. Are you wanting to help mentor some other people in your life? Maybe some friends, maybe some of the women that you're dating. Maybe you even want to sort of do what I've done. You want to start a coaching business. Maybe you want to do content. I am in this really good position right now. It's really humbling that I'm getting quite a lot of people coming to me for coaching, signing up for the coaching program saying, Andy, I'm literally just here because I want to be doing what you're doing. I want to coach other people. Maybe I want to start my own YouTube channel. We've got at this point in time like 5 guys currently in the coaching program and a whole bunch of people that we've worked with in the past that are there literally just to do this shit. So even if you're not wanting to start your own coaching business or you have no intention of doing a YouTube channel, watch this video anyway, even if you have no intention of doing what I've done, because a lot of these ideas and these principles and these things that I've learned, they apply to just like friends that you're trying to like lift up and encourage, or women that you're dating that you want to give a little bit of value to, that you want to leave them a little bit better off than you found them. So I hope this video is helpful. Let's get straight into it. So a coaching client of mine recently asked me, Andy, how can I make my coaching clients and my audience stick around a little bit longer? Obviously, I'll add the caveat, you can't make people stay. Like you listening right now, if you decide you don't want to watch my content anymore, I can't force you to stay. And I have no intention of like manipulating you or making you stay if you don't want to. But, the thing that I found helps the most with people resonating with your content or friends that you're trying to help actually listening to your advice and following through or wanting to be friends with you and stick around is giving as much value as you can. So one thing that I sort of have drilled into my head is every day when I wake up, I'm thinking, how can I serve people today? How can I give value today? How can I pour my heart and soul into trying to help people? And you think in terms of one person at a time. How can I just help the next person who's right in front of me, rather than how can I change the world? That's a little bit scary. So I'm always sort of thinking of them. And this is what I tell any of my coaching clients who want to start their own coaching business or do their own YouTube channel. Or like I said, even friends or even guys that just want to help their friends. Think of the other person. So think of your friend or think of your audience or think of your coaching client and think what they need. Ask yourself, what does this person need? Or how can I help them? How can I give to them? You put yourself in their shoes and you say, what would help them? Like, can I just be here for them? Do I think that would help the most? Is there something I can give them? If I'm not sure what they might want or need, I can ask them. And you sort of take your own ego and your own agenda and your own idea of what the right answer might be. You take that out of it and you just say, what do they need? Like, how can I serve them? So that has to come from a very humble place, because what we want to do, right, is we want to say that we're right. We want to say, I know how to change your life. I know that you should just do this, just change this, just do this. And often when we do that, we're not really taking into account what the other person might want. We're not taking into account their likes and their dislikes and their preferences. It's why at this point in my content, these days, I don't tell you guys and girls what to do. I say whatever it is that you want, as long as that makes you happy and it's not hurting anyone else, I'm here to facilitate that. Whereas years ago, and if you go back and look at my old content, I was telling people what to do. I was saying, this is the right answer. You should do this, do that. And I was a little bit more, not forceful, but I had a bit of an agenda there. And so the number one thing that I found that helps people the most, helps your clients the most, makes your friends want to stick around and listen to you and do the actual advice that you give them, is if you sort of, like I said, take your agenda out of it, take a little step back and say, what does this person want? And again, if you're not sure, you can ask them, what do they need? What do they want? How can I help them? And if you're not sure, how can I best help you? On top of that, one thing that I've really found that keeps, my friends interested in being friends with me and listening to my advice, my clients sticking around, you guys watching, the channel growing and all of that, is I give as much value as I can. And it's not just like give as much value as you can. It's like, in my mind, I'm like, what does this person want? What would serve them? And how can I like help them and go above and beyond for them. And I like to use the word serve, like how can I serve them? And how can I, as best I can, help facilitate them changing their life? How can we dream big? And obviously sometimes when you dream big, that can be a little, scary and overwhelming. That's why I say things like just take baby steps and all of that. But I am thinking when I'm doing content and when I'm sitting down with someone and when I'm talking to my friend, I'm thinking, how can I help this motherfucker change their life? Like I'm thinking big, I'm thinking grand, I'm getting excited about that stuff. I literally this morning, like an hour ago, had a guy apply for the coaching program and I recorded him a little video message. That's something that I do for all of my clients, or all the potential clients. I'll just record them a little video message. I'll grab my phone, I'll do a little selfie and talk for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes and just say how excited I am. And this guy, holy fuck, he's got all these amazing goals. He essentially wants to do exactly what I'm talking about here. He wants to start his own coaching business and start his own content and help people, sort of like I've been able to help people. And I got so goddamn fucking excited about that because I'm just thinking man, goddamn it, I could really have a big impact on this guy's life. And then I could hopefully help him go and have a big impact on other people's lives. And so again, I'm always sort of thinking in my head with my clients, with my friends, with you, the audience listening right now, I'm thinking, how can I get these motherfuckers to really change their life? And yes, that stuff takes time, that takes patience, baby steps, blah, blah, blah. But I am thinking big, I'm thinking grand, I'm getting excited. So don't just give value to your clients, that's amazing, but get really excited about that and think, how can I really help them change their life? How can we just dream big and do some amazing shit together? On top of that, another thing that's really helped me serve my audience, serve you guys, have people stick around and, want to keep coming back and want to be loyal and how we've built this community is I really just have focused on caring about people and giving a shit about them, giving a shit about their goals, giving a shit about, their preferences, giving a shit when they're sad, giving a shit when they're happy, listening, caring, wanting to hear their underdog story, really just sitting there and going, I'm here, I'm here. And this is something that I've done with my friends a lot. I've done this with most of the women that I've dated and slept with and seen. I am just there. I'm interested. I give a shit. And this can be something that you can help train. If you right now are in a position where you're just look, I'll be honest, I've just started a YouTube channel, or, maybe I have some friends and I just can't really massively care at the moment. I just have too much of my own shit to think about. Beautiful, amazing. Focus on your own stuff. There's that saying, put on your own oxygen mask before you help somebody else with theirs. Or another similar saying is you can't pour from an empty cup. So fill your own cup, handle your own needs, and then you'll be in a beautiful position where you can help other people. But for any of you listening, if you're listening to this podcast, if you haven't, clicked over to something else by now, I'm assuming you're here because you want to help other people, right? You either want to give to the people that you're dating and sleeping with, or you want to give to your friends, or you want to start a coaching business, or you want to just do content. In some capacity, you want to give to other people. Beautiful. If you're in that position, give a shit about people. And more than anything, it's care about them as people, not just clients or someone who can give me something or another notch in my belt or money. They're human beings going through real struggles just like you. And that's something that I also like to do. I will look for the commonality between myself and the person that I'm coaching, or the woman that I'm sleeping with, or the friend that I'm talking to. Where, if this is them as a person, kind of think of it like a Venn diagram. If this is them and this is me, where do we overlap? Where's that little bit in the middle where we have things in common, or we're going for the similar sort of goals, or we have similar life experiences? Where are the commonalities? And let's bond over that. Often we as human beings will look at the parts of the Venn diagram where we don't overlap, right? You'll look at somebody else and go, well, I'm a leftist and they're a conservative, so we disagree. And you fight, or people will fight over those disagreements or those patches where maybe they're not in agreement, and they'll completely miss the big bit in the middle where they agree. To use that same example, to take that example a little further, maybe you're a leftist, you're on the left and they're super conservative, but maybe you both agree that you just want other human beings to be happy and free and loved. Maybe you both completely fucking agree on that. And so you're not actually enemies, You're just two people that have a big overlap and then some just stuff on the side that they sort of disagree about. And that's beautiful. That's the magic of life. We don't always agree on everything, but we're often so hyper-focused on the things that we disagree on that we forget to look for where we actually fucking agree. So that's another thing that can really help with coaching clients or friends or anybody else that you're trying to help or mentor or be there for, is look for the commonality. Look for where you agree and focus in on that and work with that. Similar, another thing that's really helped me with, you guys still being here and my coaching clients being very passionate about my coaching program and all of that, and women, continuing to see me, is I think I do a pretty decent job of sharing myself. I'm pretty honest. I'm not perfectly honest, and that's not the mission. We just try and be as honest as we can. I share my struggles. I'm pretty real. I will share my victories. I will tell you when I'm grateful for you. Here you go right now. I'm very grateful for you being here listening, working on your own goals, being kind to me, being kind to other people. I'm grateful to you for all of that. And I will sort of show that I'm human more than anything else. I'm building a connection between you and me, like an honest conversation. I know that most of you watching aren't saying anything back to me, right? Like this video may get fucking 1,000 views over the next 6 months, and it might only get 30 comments. So the vast majority of people that watch don't leave a comment. And I love it when you leave a comment, by the way. And I love it when you don't. You do whatever you want to do. But the majority of people don't have a conversation back. But it still feels like a conversation because enough people do tell you something or say, hey, this helped, or here's what I'm thinking, or blah, blah, blah. And so I'm basically building this nice connection, and I encourage any of you to do the same. It's the best way one of the best ways I've found of sort of keeping people around, helping people, all of that kind of stuff, is show them that you're a human being. Be honest, be vulnerable, be raw. I see a lot of content creators, and I understand how you slip into this, where they're almost putting on a mask, like a front. They're trying to be perfect. They're trying to show you the best sides of themselves. They're afraid and terrified of ever letting you see them like without makeup on or something, or ever having a real moment where they tell you what they're actually struggling with. And I understand why, because they've put themselves in the position of like expert. I'm the expert, I'm up here, and everybody else is like, not that they think that they're better than you, but they've put themselves in that position of expert. They've taken the responsibility of that label of being an expert. And so with that, a lot of people tell themselves, if I'm the expert, I can't be vulnerable. I can't ever say I don't know something, because then, I might look like an idiot. No. When you're honest and you say, I don't know everything, and I, Andy, am sitting here right now, I'll put my hand up and say it. I've said this in enough of my content. I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. I'm not fucking perfect. And you know that because I tell you that all the fucking time. And what that means is I can then actually fucking help you more, because you're not holding yourself, or you're not holding yourself to this impossible standard of, Andy never has a moment of vulnerability or honesty or, struggle. So if I'm ever struggling, which all of you will struggle at some point, if I'm ever struggling, there must be something wrong with me, because this content creator or this coach or this friend or this person that I look up to, man, they're so perfect and I'm not. What's wrong with me? And so if I set that impossible standard for you, if I pretend, or if I only show the side of myself that appears perfect, that doesn't really help you. And it doesn't make you feel like you want to stick around and listen to what I have to say for as much, because at some point, and I've done this with other content creators and coaches that I've followed, the ones who are trying to be or appearing to be perfect all the time. At some point, I just feel like, I don't deserve to be here. The person I'm following is perfect. I'm not perfect. I can't keep watching them. I feel too insecure to watch them. Or I feel like I just can't connect with them. I feel like they're off on a different planet. They're perfect. They're like inhuman or something. And I'm just this normal, average human being who's not perfect. And so if I show you the raw, real sides of myself, and again, this applies to your friends. This definitely applies to dating. Any of you guys out there listening, if you show the raw, real, honest parts of yourself to women, then they go, holy fuck, this guy's a human being. You know what? I can relate to him. I can stick around with him. He's not some impossible fucking alpha male Chad, big dick god who has his shit together all the time and he's always perfect. And I feel insecure around him. No, he's just a fucking human being like me. You can connect a little bit better. So one thing that's really helped me on that is just from time to time, letting that mask drop. And I mean, as best I can, I try not to even put the mask on, but it is inevitable to some extent. If I'm sitting here in front of you, in front of this camera, and any content creators and coaches will tell you the same thing, you are trying to put on the best face that you can. But I do my best to let that down as much as I possibly can. Anytime I remember, half of this podcast is me telling you that I'm not perfect. And that just helps you sort of relate to that. But like I said, if you're keeping up that perfect appearance, you're often just doing that for your own ego or because you're afraid of people ever seeing like the real you. Run towards that fucking fear. And it can be terrifying. It certainly was for me. It was not easy to sit here in front of you all the times when I've said I'm not perfect. It was not easy, 6 months ago when I told my story of when I went to prison when I was 19. That was really fucking terrifying. Go and watch that video on my channel. Just search my channel for the word prison. Watch the first 5 minutes of the video. I literally tell you how fucking terrified I am. I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is so fucking terrifying. This is really hard. I've said that in so many pieces of content. I'm like, I'll be honest, this is really fucking hard. I did another video, which you can search for, called I Was Terrified to Do This, or I Was Fucking Terrified to Do This. Just search for that. You'll see in that video, I start off by talking and saying, look, I'm really fucking I don't want to do this. This is really scary. And so when I share that with you guys and girls, I'm letting down my own ego and I'm actually helping you a little bit more. So again, if you're wanting to help the women that you date and encourage them to be stronger, more resilient, more capable people, if you want to help your friends, if you want to do what I've done and get into content creation or be a coach or have a business or any of this stuff or write a book or any of this kind of shit, if you just want to help other human beings, the more you can show the actual real side of yourself, in other words, that authenticity, the more people can relate to you, the more people will want to stick around and keep listening to you, the more people will feel empowered to go on their own journeys of self-improvement, and the more people you will actually help because they can see, and this is my motto on my website, if this guy has done it, maybe I can do it. The motto on my website is, if I can do it, you sure as hell can too. That motto only works because I show you the things that I have gone through. I show you my moments of imperfection. I show you my moments of struggle, of weakness, of, not that I think anyone's weak, but what I'm trying to get at here. I show you all of that stuff and you go, fuck, man. Andy's been through a rough time from, time to time and he's gotten through it. Okay, maybe right now while I'm going through a rough time, maybe I'll be okay. Andy was okay. Maybe I'll be okay. And I'm empowering you and giving you that permission to not fucking be perfect. Another thing that's really fucking helped is I've had this in my head sometimes with a client who's sort of really stubborn, or maybe I say something to them, 20 times and I just say it over and over again and they're just not ready to put it into practice. They're not ready to really receive it yet, right? In those moments where I've tried and tried and tried to get them to change or to do the thing that I'm saying and they just don't seem to be ready for it, I will take a step back. And this is what I tell myself. I say, my job isn't to fix this person. My job is just to love them. And in that moment, I will just go, I'm just going to be here for that person. I'm going to be patient. And when they complain to me for the 50th time that they're still going through this same struggle, when I've given them the answer 49 other times, I'll be very patient and loving with that. I'll look for the reasons why I'm grateful that they're telling me for a 50th time. Isn't this beautiful that they're going to tell me the same thing 50 times and they trust me enough to not yell at them and say, fuck you, stop telling me the same thing 50 times, go and change your life. Like, they trust me enough to be that safe space for them. That's beautiful. And so I'll look for the reasons why, fuck it. I'm glad that you're telling me the same problem and you haven't fixed it yet. That's beautiful. Because I myself in my own life, there's been so many times where people had to tell me the same fucking piece of advice 50, 100 times before I finally put it into practice. And some of your, if you get into coaching, some of your clients might do the same thing. Or if you're helping your friends, God, how many of you have told a friend, or maybe someone that you're dating or sleeping with, or a family member, how many of you have told that person the same thing like 50 times? And then a week later, they're like, oh man, I don't know why my life is like this. And you're like, oh my God, I told you 50 times why it's like this. Are you kidding me? You can all sort of relate to that. We've all been in that position. And so I take a step back and I say, fuck, they're just not ready to hear this yet. All right, I'm just going to be there for them. And if you don't want to be there for them, you don't have to. But I'm saying if you want to, if you're trying to help them, just zoom out a little bit and say, my job isn't to convince them of this because they're not ready to hear it yet. When they're ready, they'll listen. For now, I'm just going to be there for them. I'm just going to love them. I'm just going to give them as much love as I possibly can. And this concept didn't come from me. It came from the author David Hawkins in his book, Letting Go. And he had he's a psychologist, or he was a psychologist. He's passed away now. And he had this client or this patient, and she was just miserably unhappy. And he kept telling her the same advice week in, week in, week in, week in, week out, week in. Fuck, I fucked that up, didn't I? Week in, week out. That's what I meant to say. He kept telling her the same advice over and over again, and she just wasn't listening. And at some point, he just said, fuck, all right, I'm not going to fix her. I'm just going to love her. And he just focused on pouring as much love into her as he possibly could. And he said over the next year or so, she just made small little changes in her life. And he said her entire life wasn't magically changed because she wasn't ready to change it. But there was just an incredible improvement in her happiness and the way she talked to him and the courage that she was slowly able to start taking, because he was able to just give her that like safe space and that love and, look, I'm here for you. I'll listen. And again, don't do that if you don't want to. But for a lot of you who do want to help your friends or your family, and you're getting so frustrated by the fact that they're not taking on your advice, maybe just stop giving the advice or give it like gentle little bits. Just say, hey, look, I've told you like 20 times my advice, but it's okay if you're not ready to take it yet. I get it, but I'm here for you. I love you and I'm here for you. And so just focusing on that rather than fixing them. And that can require you to take your ego out of it, because everything in your ego is just slamming its fist down on the table and saying, why won't they listen to me? Come on, I have the solution to your problem. I can fix your problem right now. Just listen to me. Your ego's like screaming because your ego wants to help, but the person isn't ready for it yet. So you can be a little more patient with that. Take that ego out and take a little bit of a step back. Similar to what I said at the start of this, one thing that I've really found helps my clients and my friends and women and, Imogen, my girlfriend, and all of that is when I'm trying to help people, I've learned to be more flexible with what the client might need or the person might need at that particular moment in time. And again, I'll think what they need in that moment. And sometimes they need just the raw fucking truth. Right? Like maybe, and be kind about how you say the truth, but maybe they've just been sort of like deluding themselves into something for months and months and months, and they're just kidding themselves, like maybe maybe they're morbidly obese and they keep talking about how they want to lose weight. And maybe every time you hang out with them, they're just stuffing their face with Doritos and they're kind of laughing about it and they're going, I know I should stop eating Doritos. It's okay. I'm just having a little bit of junk food. It's okay. And like you can see the weight gaining and, they keep telling you that they want to lose weight, but they're like lying to themselves. They're saying, it's okay. It's just a packet of corn chips. And it's like, it's not just a packet of corn chips. You ate 5 packets of corn chips today and the hamburger and the pizza and all of that. And so they're kind of like deluding themselves a little bit. And they're asking you for help. They're saying, I want to lose weight. Maybe in that moment, what they need is like you to just, again, be gentle and kind with it, but for you to say, is it really 1 bag of chips? And just let that sit there. Maybe that's what they need. And maybe they need to go, oh, fuck. No, you're right. It's not 1 bag of chips, is it? And you go, you tell me. Have you sort of maybe been telling yourself a lie for a while? Maybe you're gaining a lot of weight, aren't you? You asked me to help you. You're kind of deluding yourself and saying it's just a packet of chips here and there. It's kind of not that, is it? Like maybe that's what they need. Maybe in the moment they need you to just be really empathetic and just say like, look, I understand. Maybe in the moment they need you to say, oh man, like I get it. Like I'll listen. I'm here for you. Sometimes they might need advice. Like sometimes they might genuinely not know how to do something and they just need your advice. Other times they might need you to do nothing but just shut your mouth and literally say nothing and just listen for half an hour without saying a fucking word other than I'm here. And maybe every, minute or so, like I'm listening, keep going. I'm here. Like maybe they just need you to fucking listen. And so sometimes they might need you to say everything will be okay. That's something that I've noticed my coaching clients and friends and, women and other people. Sometimes they really, really, really just want me to tell them that what they're doing is okay and they're okay and everything will be okay. They literally just want reassurance. You know, sometimes people need to hear like things won't be okay unless you get in there and fix them. Like sometimes they're on that path, you know, maybe towards addiction or something like that. And they're sitting there going like, you know, will things be okay? Will things be okay? And it's like, no, dude, like you might have to take some action. You know, sometimes people sit around and they're not taking any action. They're not making any progress. And they're going, oh God, I hope things work out. And they might need you to say, no, dude, things aren't going to work out unless you take some action. Bro, you might have to do something. You might have to take some action. You know, sometimes they might need you to push them a little bit harder. Sometimes they might need you to back off and like take the foot off the accelerator and just be like, whoa, hey, chill. Like you're doing a good job. You don't need to push right now. Maybe you need to take a day off. And so there are all these different sort of like forms of helping people that you can do. And it sort of depends on where they're at in that moment. And you might not be good at figuring out what would help the person. And so, like I said before, you can ask them, but there's sort of like an art to this. And in other words, you might suck at the start at helping people. You might be clumsy with your advice. You might be like, oh, they need me to push them. And you push them like crazy and then they have a breakdown. And then you go, oh, fuck, they didn't want me to push them. Fuck. Maybe I should have actually taken my foot off the accelerator and just said, hey, slow down. That's okay. I was so clumsy in the first 3 years of helping people and coaching and all of that. You figure it out the more you do it. So give yourself permission to suck with this. Similar to these things that you can do to help your clients and your friends is you can celebrate their wins, recognize their successes, and just be there to say like, hey, you fucking did it. Good job. You know, one thing I do with all my coaching clients is I recognize their successes. I'm constantly saying, good job. I'm constantly saying, that's amazing, dude. You're a legend. This is so good. And reinforcing that. And so sometimes if you're trying to help, you know, your audience or your friends or people that you're dating, just a little bit of praise goes such a long way. A little bit of like, hell yeah, keep it up. Sometimes that's all people really want. That's all they might need. Similar to that, you know, people sort of struggle with recognizing how far that they've come and the progress that they've made. So if you see that in someone, you can sort of say like, whoa, hit the pause button. Look at how far you've just come in the last 3 months or the last 6 months. Like the old you would never have been able to do what you're now doing every single day. Holy fuck, let's celebrate that. So like zooming out and giving people a little bit of perspective can be super helpful because it's often like very easy for us to get caught up in our shortcomings and what we still have left to achieve. And we don't recognize or we don't take the time to appreciate all of the growth and accomplishment that we have actually, you know, just that accomplished. So one of the sort of superpowers that I find I have as a coach, and maybe all of you will have when you're helping your friends and all of that, is you're sort of a bit removed from them. Like you're not living their life. And so they might be getting caught up in like emotions or the day-to-day things or stress or something like that. But because you're not them, you're like zoomed out a little bit. You're a little bit more rational about their situation most of the time. You often have a better view of their life because you've zoomed out a little bit. You can see the forest for the trees, whereas maybe they're down there caught amongst the weeds and they're kind of unable to zoom out a little bit. And so I find it very easy. And again, this can take practice and you can get decent at it the more you do it. I find it very easy for me to see the big picture and see that they're making progress and see where they are and maybe see what might help them if they can't see that themselves. So that's something that you can obviously offer people is you can zoom out a little bit and say, hey, look, I can kind of see everything that's going on. Why don't you try this? Or you might say, I can see everything that's going on. You're making progress. Like keep it up. You're doing a good job. So yeah, I tell people to use that sort of superpower, point out the progress that your friends or your clients are making. So that's about all that I had. That's everything in my notes. So that's some of the stuff that has helped me sort of mentor other people and coach and hopefully help you guys and, you know, my clients and, you know, the rest of my audience and stuff. If this is something that you would like a little bit of help with, you know, maybe you'd like help with mentoring your friends and encouraging them, or maybe you would like to start a coaching business or start some content and make a YouTube channel like I've done or a podcast or something else, I would love to help you with that. I have coaching. There's a link in the description down below. As always, ladies and gentlemen, go out there and crush those goals.